it's Dr. Rebecca Barrett Fox, your professor for Sociology of Gender. This week our focus is on the social construction of gender. To say that gender is a social construction is to say that it's both not real, and it is real, and its consequences. The classic definition of social constructionism as provided to us by William Isaac Thomas and Dorothy Swain Thomas. We know that gender is not real, in the sense that it doesn't exist apart from culture and society. We know this because we can easily see that ideas about gender have been different across time and are different across cultures. Take, for example, fashion. In this painting, we see Louis the 14th of France wearing high heels. Now, today, we generally associate high heels with women's fashion, though, of course, there are men who wear high heels both in public and in private, but doing so is norm-breaking. This wasn't always the case. Hundreds of years ago in Europe, high heels weren't gendered. They were classed. That is, you wore high heels to show that you were wealthy. And why not? The point of being wealthy was that you didn't have to do anything productive. And what better way to show the world that you didn't need to work in the field like a peasant than to wear clothes that would have made it totally impossible to work in the field like a peasant. But over time, high heels became fashion for women, not for wealthy people. The fact that the gender rules of fashion changed tells us that gender changes. And if gender changes, it means that it's socially constructed. Here's another example. Do you recognize this person? Look hard. It's someone you've seen as an adult. So our image here is of a child, maybe 2 or 3 years old, in a black and white studio photo. The child has long wavy hair and bangs. The child wears a ruffled collar, Mary Jane shoes that have a bow on the toe, and socks with a ruffle. A large hat with a feather and a bow sits on the child's knee. Well, here's the answer. It's President Franklin D. Roosevelt. When he was a boy in the late 1800s, it was common to dress boys this way. Ruffles, bows, feathers, and all. In fact, in the early 1900s, as department stores became more common, they marketed blue clothes for girls and pink ones for boys, arguing that blue was a soothing color also associated with the Virgin Mary, best suited for the mild temperament of little girls. While pink, as a derivative of red, was a powerful color, appropriate for boys. We see the same sexist logic that informs our ideas about gender today, that boys are active, that girls are passive, but is interpreted totally differently. That, too, lets us know that gender is socially constructed. This doesn't mean that the consequences of gender aren't real. In fact, the consequences can be deadly. For example, men live shorter lives on average than women. And this is true in the U.S. across all racial groups, and it's true globally. While some of this seems to be true due to the greater fragility in men's health, most of the differences are due to a higher number of accidents and violence among men. It's not that men are, quote, naturally more accident-prone or more violent than women, but we push men toward riskier behaviors and violence. Men are overrepresented in risky professions such as sanitation, commercial fishing, forestry, prison guard work, firefighting, and military service. While women are more likely to be nurses, which is a very dangerous job. So nursing is one of the most dangerous professions. They're also less likely to engage in other risky behaviors, like driving excessively fast, or while tired or intoxicated. And they're less likely to abuse alcohol or drugs or tobacco, all things that shorten men's lifespans. In fact, the only cause of death that's more common among women than men, you can see in this chart, causes of death, and this is the ratio, the age-adjusted death rate between men and women. So if it's a perfect 1, that would mean that men and women die at the same rate. So hypertension, we're getting pretty close. But men die, for example, of liver disease associated with alcoholism about twice as much. Suicide, much higher risk for men. And accidents, much higher risk for men. The only cause of death more common among women, things that cause more likely to kill women, is Alzheimer's disease. And that's a disease that increases with old age, a stage of life that women are simply more likely to reach. In short, the way we create gender in our society has real consequences, life and death consequences, for individual lives and for our society. But as you work on your projects this week in class, you'll be exploring examples of how our society constructs gender, how we make it what it is. I'm excited to see what you find and read your analyses. If, as you do your work this week, you have any questions, please let me know.